Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video we have another comparison video. It's been a while since I've done one of these. So today we're going to be looking at a high-end and then we're going to be looking at a drugstore dupe and just see whether it's worth the splurge or whether the drugstore version is, you know, good enough. I'm going to zoom you in first of all just so that you can pick an eye for each one. So I want to know which one's Urban Decay and which one's W7. I will just say this patch under here is because my eye keeps streaming, so ignore that dodgy patch of no pigment. That is not the palette's fault. So this is eye number one. Let me know Urban Decay or W7, and then eye number two, again Urban Decay or W7. This is the W7 Howdy palette. And this is the Urban Decay Wild West. See anything that you recognise there? So put them both together and you will see that the colour story is identical. Now, I'm not saying the formulas are identical and I'm not saying the shades are exactly identical, but they're pretty close when it comes to the shade colours. There is slight differences here and there once you get them on the skin, but nothing absolutely major. The thing that's standing out to me now, just looking in the palette, this shade here, it's a lot lighter in the W7, a little bit darker up here, and this one's a bit brighter, I would say, than the one up here, but apart from that, there isn't much in it. Formula wise is another story. So I'm just going to swatch these, and as we go through and swatch them, I'm going to tell you about the issues that I've had with certain pans, and then I'll show you close up the issues on my eyes. These are not necessarily in any order. They're not going to be necessarily in the same order as on my eyes, but they might be. I'm not giving anything away. But yeah, I'm just going to swatch maybe like 4 to start with. These two really haven't shown up that well, but the reason being they are pretty much my skin tone, so they're not showing up that well. Other than that, they all look pretty good. What I will say is the W7 shimmers appear to be a lot chunkier. I'm just going to show you a comparison finger swatch. I don't know whether it's going to actually show up on camera. That one is the W7. You can see it's just a bit more chunky. And it's still pretty, and this is just a lot smoother. They're both pretty shades, they're both very similar. The Urban Decay doesn't need help. Like with a lot of shimmer palettes, you need help with the shimmers. You need to use your finger or a wet brush, or however, you know, you prefer to use shimmers when they're having a little bit of trouble picking up on a brush. The Urban Decay, no problem at all. Nothing required. They worked well. I tried it with a finger, I tried it with a brush, and I tried it with a wet brush as well. The reason I went for a wet brush, even though it didn't need it, was because the W7 one did, and I wanted it to be a fair test. Those are the next shades, and again, this one is the W7. It just feels a lot thicker. When you're swatching, you get like chunks, and then you have to almost like smush them and blend them out, whereas the Urban Decay is smoother. I don't know whether you'll see. I've literally used this palette once, and just look how much I've dug into it, just because. I'll show you with my finger. You just do a light swatch, and it's like, I don't know. It's just a little bit chunky. And then I found it difficult to pick up on a brush. So I tried with my finger and that was fine. But I don't like using my fingers on my eyes. I don't mind tapping over it like afterwards. Like I'll do this, you know, just to give it a bit more vibrance. but I don't like to use a finger to try and get, you know, like a neat line and things like that, because the finger doesn't do that. You need a really sort of like precise brush. So that annoys me a bit when you have to do that. When you use a wet brush, so much sticks to the brush, and I was finding as I was trying to pat it on, it was falling off onto my face, and it wasn't a bit of fallout, it was chunks, because a wet brush just picks up chunks. But the Urban Decay doesn't need wet, but it works fine with it. The next one, I'd say the W7 is a little bit less warm. I found that when you blend it out, it goes a little bit grey. It's a bit odd, but it wasn't too bad. It's not showing that well on this, but yeah, on my eye it kind of went a bit grey, which is a bit weird. It might have been the mixture with the green, I'm not sure. I'm going to zoom you in, and I'm just going to show you the one that I showed you on the hand, and I'll show you what I mean. We'll see if you can see the chunkiness. So this is the W7. I don't know whether you'll see the chunkiness. Yes, you can. Ignore that bit. That's like a wet patch. But if you can see up here, there's just chunks. There's a chunk here, but I think that's because my eyelid got wet. I'm going to start on the other arm because I'm running out of space. So we've got the gorgeous turquoise. This is the W7. This one actually wasn't too bad. I didn't actually need to use any liquid with that one. And the other one, the Urban Decay, is actually less pigmented, I would say. I've had to do a bit of an extra swipe there. So I'd say actually the W7 one won that round. I've not tried this one, so let's see. This is the bronze one. That's W7. Yeah, the Urban Decay, it's got a little bit more something to it, I think. It's going to double swatch it. I'm going to do the same on the other one, because obviously we've got a pale bit on the different sides to each other. No, actually, no. They're very, there's nothing in them. They're very, very similar. I do find that these darker mattes in the W7 palette are extremely patchy in comparison, although they both look patchy there. I don't know whether it's the shades that they've used. Apologies for the wonky swatches. I do not know what is going on with my life right now. I just can't. I've just lost the ability to swatch. What is wrong with me? Again, this was a particularly tricky colour in both palettes. I actually had to take the Urban Decay side off and do it again. So that's the Urban Decay. I would say it's more pigmented. If you can see, this is the shade here, and in comparison, you don't really get the same effect on the other side. I found the W7 one really hard to build up with this specific shade. I found it blended amazing. The Urban Decay one I struggled blending. The W7 one blended amazing, but it blended away. So I kind of need a happy medium between the two. The Urban Decay, the way that I usually do makeup, especially when I'm doing a dark colour, is I'll use like a smaller brush and I'll pack it on, and then I'll get a blending brush, blend out the edges, and then if I need to, I'll go in with more. I did that maybe 2 or 3 times on this side. On this side I did about 57,000 times, and when you blend, it just disappears. I'll see if I can do that, replicate that on my arm. So I've got some pigment there. And then I just got like, this isn't the right brush really. Have I got a decent blending brush? This isn't an ideal brush, but it might still do what I'm hoping it's going to do. You see when you blend it, it kind of blends away to nothing, which is fine. But then you build it up, which is really hard to do on my arm. I don't know why I'm doing this really. I don't know how else to demonstrate because I've already done my eyes. And then it does actually, you know, you have to keep doing that and eventually it does kind of work. But as you can see, it goes a bit patchy and you have to like try and balance it out. And yeah, it does work. It does work, but it wasn't the greatest. That actually looks really good actually. In real life it does, not so much on camera, but in real life it actually looks pretty good. But yeah, it does pretty much just blend away to nothing. And the other side did the opposite. That one really didn't blend. It might have been the eye base I was using, I'm really not sure. But there is a patch. Let's see. Watch it blend beautifully now. Okay, I take it back. I think it was the eye base that I used because that's just blended lovely. I think that's designed to be used without an eye base, personally. That has actually worked a lot better and it has blended right out and it has lost pigmentation like I said the W7 one did, which was not my experience on the eye, but I didn't set my base. So I'm thinking setting your base is very important. So if you do get this Urban Decay palette, I would say set your base or don't use one because it works better that way. I've totally lost my train of where we were up to, so we're just doing that one. So just got one more shade, like a brown shade. Again, a lot of these shades are very similar. What I would say is you can tell the difference in formula. The Urban Decay is better. Is it worth £46? If you like the colour story and you like Urban Decay, it probably is worth the money. However, the W7 one is pretty decent for the price. As I say, the shimmers aren't that great. They are a bit chunky, but they are very very akin to drugstore shimmers. You can definitely tell the difference in quality of the shimmers. The mattes, very, very similar. Very, very similar. As I say, the W7 does kind of blend out a bit too much. It is a lot of work keep going back in to give more pigmentation. So I would say if you're looking for something quick and easy and you hate blending for hours on end, definitely worth, you know, making the investment and going for the Urban Decay. But if you like a bargain and you're happy to put in the extra effort, this is a pretty good dupe. It's just not high-end quality, but what do you expect? I think this was $6.99 and the Urban Decay is at around $46. So a massive price difference. Very similar palette, mostly nearly identical, slight variation in a couple of the colours. Because I have both of these now, if I was to declutter one of them, I probably would declutter the W7, but that's just because I've paid the money for this one and this one has got nicer shimmers. I do prefer the shimmer quality and I am a shimmer girl. I did want this palette when it first came out, but it wasn't different enough for me to justify it. I was literally wanting to buy it for like these two shades and I've probably got those shades 10 times over in different palettes, so I couldn't justify it. But because obviously I wanted to do the comparison, that's why I picked it up. I'd probably keep the high end because I generally do. But I do think this is a pretty good dupe. It's just not high-end quality. but for something a little bit cheaper, it's definitely worth picking up. So yeah, let me know down in the comments if you've got either one of these palettes and what you think of them. What do you think of the colour story? Is it different enough for you to pick it up? I do think that if it wasn't for all these neutrals, then it probably would be more something that I would have picked up when it first came out. I just think that there wasn't enough of the, you know, the enticing shades for me to justify the money at the time. But yeah, I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. It really does help my channel. I am going to try and be a bit more proactive going forward and do at least a couple of videos a week. We'll see how it goes. I do have a lot going on at the moment, and I will talk about that at some point. I'm not sure whether to do a vlog or do a chatty get ready with me. Again, let me know down below, what do you want me to do with regards to sort of like updating you all on what's been going on and, you know, what to expect going forward. Would you prefer a get ready with me where I do my makeup, telling you a little bit like a story time type situation? Or do you just want me to sit down and have a straightforward chat with you? Let me know, and I will certainly arrange that for you. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.